Welcome to the Buy Nothing Rebellion. There's a tool sitting in more beginner woodworking shops than almost anything else right now. A little plastic jig. It's marketed as the gateway to professional joinery. And if you bought one or you're thinking about buying one, I want to have an honest conversation with you. Because I own one. I have many. I've used them for years. I know exactly what it is. And more importantly, I know exactly what it isn't. Today I'm going to show you 5 things the pocket hole industry conveniently leaves out of the marketing. And I'm not here to tell you that a pocket hole is a bad thing. They're not. But if you're starting out, you deserve to have the whole story. Let's start with a little context. The Kreg jig originally launched in 1989. And honestly, it was genuinely useful and it was innovative at the time. Before it existed, joining face frames on cabinets was slow, tedious work. The Kreg jig made it fast. Cabinet shops loved it, professional carpenters loved it. It solved a real problem for a very specific professional application. Then the marketing machine got involved. What started as a professional cabinet shop tool got repositioned as beginner joinery. And that repositioning, that's where things get interesting. Because it changed who was buying it and why. Today, you can spend $200 or $300 building out a full pocket hole system. The jig, clamps, stops, specialty screws, and accessories that only work with other Kreg pocket hole tools. And I want you to understand what you're actually buying into before you surrender a Ben Franklin or two. Now, I want to be very clear about this. Pocket hole joinery is legitimate joinery. I use mine. It has a limited place in my shop. If you're building face frames, assembling cabinet boxes, or doing quick carcass work where the joint stays hidden, pocket holes are fast and they do work. That's not what I'm here to demystify. I'm here to show you the gap between what they sold you at the store and what you actually got. Let's talk about 5 of them. Number 1, they sold you professional joinery. What you got is a face frame shortcut. The marketing shows you beautiful furniture, solid tables, clean, tight joints. What it doesn't show you is that pocket hole joinery is almost exclusively useful for end grain to face connections. That's pieces where the end grain of the wood meets the face of the wood, and the ugly joint itself is hidden from view. Try it on a table apron to leg joint, try it on a chair, try it on anything that has real racking force, a force that pushes sideways, not straight down. And a pocket hole will let you down every single time. The screws pull through, or the joint opens up over time. Professional furniture makers don't use pocket holes for structural joinery. At best, they use pocket holes to add stability to other joints. Think of the angled corner braces under a table or a desk. Cabinet shops use pocket holes for face frames specifically because face frames get covered up. You never, ever see them. They just need to hold while the glue dries. That's actually what the tool seems best built for. It acts like a clamp while the glue dries. Number 2, they sold you beginner friendly. What you got is a jig that punishes mistakes. What you got is a jig that works best when you have 3 hands. A jig that assumed that your beginner hands could hold a drill straight. Beginner woodworkers are often frustrated by their initial experience with a pocket hole jig because it requires competence with other tools just to use it. I do understand why they market it that way. Drill a couple of holes, drive a couple of screws, 2 boards are joined, boom, you're done. Looks simple. For the right application and with some experience under your belt, it can be simple. But here's what they don't tell you. Pocket hole joinery has 0 self-correction built into it. If your pieces aren't perfectly flush before you drill, if there's any twist in the wood, any play in the joint, any slight misalignment, the joint locks and the mistake is locked in permanently. The screw cinches it tightly at exactly the wrong angle in exactly the wrong place, and there's no room to drive another screw so close to the one you just drove. Now you've got a twisted face frame or a bowed cabinet side that looks fine from 10 feet away and completely ganked up when you look up close. Experienced woodworkers can catch that before it happens. Beginners don't know to look for it. And that detail doesn't seem to make it into the beginner kit. YouTubers who show you how easy a pocket hole jig is to use push record on their camera after spending years learning the hand-eye coordination of using a drill, keeping it angled properly, and holding the wood so it doesn't slide away. Of course it looks easy. Number 3, they sold you strength. What you got is conditional strength at best. Pull strength on a pocket hole joint is actually pretty decent, assuming you've got it together correctly aligned, glued well, and the screws are tight. The straight line pull. Try to pull 2 boards apart along the axis of the screw, and the pocket holes will hold up just fine. That's the test they show you in the marketing videos. What they don't test is shear strength, side-to-side force, racking, and it's exactly the kind of force that furniture sees every single day when someone leans on a table, sits on a bench, or bumps into the leg of a table with a vacuum cleaner. That's where pocket holes are genuinely weak. I find the best use for pocket holes is in locations where they can help other joints resist racking forces. Again, think about those angled braces in the corners of dining tables and under desks. The industry knows this. That's why they recommend gluing and screwing, but that detail seems to get lost somewhere between the factory and the front page of their website. You won't find any pocket hole jig kits that come with a bottle of glue. Hey, if you're finding this useful, stick around. I've got 2 more. And I'll tell you exactly what to reach for when pocket holes won't do the job. Also, do you know about the constellation of websites I'm building to help you on your woodworking journey? Check out the description for links and give them a look. I've deployed a community directory just for woodworkers. I've got a shop layout tool website where you can figure out what fits where you work, and a site dedicated to helping new woodworkers learn more about wood selection, what woods work for what projects, and how to avoid common mistakes with certain species. All of these sites are 100% free from any cost, commissions, affiliates, or ads. It's just information I wish I had back when I started woodworking. Okay, number 4, they sold you versatility. What you got is a one-trick pony. The Kreg marketing will show people building everything you can imagine, from tables to benches, desks, beds, cabinets, bookcases, and technically, yes, you can use pocket holes to build all of those. But you can and you should are very different sentences. For a face frame, pocket holes are the right tool. For a table apron to leg joint, you'll want a mortise and tenon for that. For a chair, you need something with real mechanical resistance to racking. Pocket holes aren't it. The problem is that a beginner watching pocket hole jig tutorials sees it used everywhere and assumes it's the right approach. It's not. It's the fast approach for a very specific set of joint applications. The tool gets stretched well beyond its honest capability and credibility, and the person holding it doesn't know why their project is wobbling 6 days later. Number 5, they sold you a starter kit. What they built was a subscription. I want to say this carefully because I don't mean this to be malicious, but I do think it's real. When you buy a Kreg jig, you're buying into a closed system. It uses proprietary screws, specific screw lengths with screw length and screw type driven by material thickness, specific head types, different size driver bits, and this all keeps you buying from Kreg over and over again. The clamps are designed to integrate with the jig, the stops are Kreg specific, the drill bits need to be replaced, especially if you're new to holding a drill while getting used to your new jig, and the plastic construction on the entry-level models, it wears out faster than you'd expect. I've seen plenty of beginners surrender a couple Ben Franklins on a pocket hole system and then drop another one on accessories before they've even finished their first project. That's not what was advertised in the beginner kit marketing. Honestly, I'm tired of watching people surrender good money on any system before they know whether it even fits how they work. So here's what I actually want you to take away from this. If you're a beginner woodworker, a pocket hole jig is not your first joinery purchase. It's maybe your third or your fourth. Master the basics first. Take the time to master measuring and marking, making good, flat, clean cuts with a saw, powered or otherwise. Take the time to learn how much glue is enough or not enough, or just right. Learning how to get two faces truly flush before they're joined, learning why that four-sided box won't sit flat, learn that. Those are real skills. The pocket hole jig is a shortcut for after you have those skills. When you're ready for it, start basic. Don't buy a full system. Not the clamps, not the stops, not the specialty setups. Just a basic jig, a box of screws that's based on the thickness of material that you're using, and a dedicated drill bit. Use it for face frames and cabinet assembly. Use it to beef up other joints like I mentioned earlier. Don't use it as the only joint. Don't use it for show joints. Don't use it as a substitute for learning real joinery. More tools don't make you a better woodworker. And expensive tools certainly don't make you a better woodworker. Jigs and fixtures are handy for sure, but they'll also prevent your hands from learning to do the work on their own. The best investment you can make in your shop is your skill and your experience. Learning to make the connection between your eyes and your hands, that's the part nobody puts into marketing because they've not yet figured out how to sell that to you. Jigs and fixtures are great, and I'm recommending that you use them only after you've learned some basic joinery first. If you found this video helpful, drop a comment below. I'd seriously like to know your experience with pocket holes. Do they work for you? Did you find the system clunky the first time you tried to use it? Has it let you down somewhere? Let me know. Let's talk about it. If you found value in this video, please consider liking and subscribing. It helps the channel reach more woodworkers who are just getting started. Till next time, friend, peace, love, and sawdust. I'm out.